Democrats were trying to get caught up. Wow, this is a long.
Greg Steube with the first pitch and the first swing is going to be a home run. Steube out of the ballpark into the left field bleachers. With the very first offering from Pete Aguilar, swings and sends it to left field and
out. For those of you who don't recognize that theme song there, that's from The Natural. I am pleased to welcome to the show the hitter of that home run, the great congressman from Florida, Greg Steube. Congressman, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Holy Moses, man. How the hell did you do that last night? Congressman, listen, I'm 3 years older than you. I can barely brush my teeth. I can't even wash my hair without a brush because my elbows don't work. I mean, you're 43 years old. You're in Congress. Did you play baseball? Were you like a pro at some time and we just didn't know?
I played baseball in high school and had a few offers and scholarships to play in college, just never followed through with it. And a couple of years after, I missed playing the sport and tried to walk on at Florida and then got injured and lost my eligibility. So didn't get to play at the college level, but always have enjoyed playing. And then we practice. I mean, the Republican managers serious about practices up here. When we're in Washington, practice starts at 6 a.m. You're up at 4:30. You're out of here by 5:30, and so you get good batting practice and stuff. But I've always enjoyed the game and always have hit pretty well.
We're talking to Congressman Greg Steube from Florida. Republican congressman hit a monster home run last night in the congressional baseball game. Congressman, you miss Ron DeSantis at all? He was a great baseball player, too. Now governor. He was, I think he was, House District 6 or something in Congress. He was a great baseball player, too, though, wasn't he, before he became the governor of Florida?
Yeah, and we didn't – so he was running for governor when I was running for Congress. So we didn't overlap. I didn't have the opportunity to either work with him here in Congress or into
yeah, you were in the Senate, right? You were in the Florida Senate at the time, is that right?
Yeah, I was in the state Senate, yeah.
Yeah, he's a big miss. So let me ask you this. So I was a baseball player myself, and I love baseball. I grew up around baseball. It's my thing. So I do want to ask you a couple of political questions, obviously. I don't want to waste your time, but seriously, were you looking fastball? Did you know that there was no hook coming? Did you know this was fastball and you're like, I'm zoned in right here and I'm just crushing this thing as it comes down the pipe?
Well, what's interesting, and a lot of people didn't realize this, because so Biden had just gone into the Republican dugout, and I was next up starting the inning off, and I was also pitching. So I came around the plate, and the umpire kind of motioned for me to go into the box. And I asked him, I said, there is a ton of press and all these people on the field. And I literally said to him, I said, if I hit a foul ball and it hits the president in the face, it's going to be your fault. And the catcher, who's a Democrat, was like, hey, sovereign immunity. And then I looked at the pitcher and I said, are you ready to go? And the pitcher, Aguilar, is like, yeah, go ahead. I'm like, all right. So if you watch the video feed, they were actually having the video on the president in the Republican dugout. And then it quickly turns as I get up to the plate and the pitcher starts to throw, it quickly clips to that. So I'm just happy that I completely distracted the entire stadium, because everybody was focused on Biden in the Republican dugout, because the Democrats wanted to see what the Republicans were going to do, and the Republicans were just watching him down there. And you hear me hit the shot, and everybody's attention turned from Biden to the field. And it was just kind of funny that I was able to completely distract the entire stadium for what was happening on the field.
Wait, producer Jim, the congressman's right. Didn't I say that on my podcast this morning? Congressman, on my life, I said the greatest part of this whole thing is Biden's busy sniffing people in the dugout. He's taking this celebratory moment, right? You get up to the plate, you steal the guys. He doesn't have a lot of thunder to steal, but whatever thunder he had left, you totally fleeced it. This thing's been on like ESPN. It's all over Twitter. I mean, I watched it for the first time. We're talking to Congressman Greg Steube, who had a massive out-of-the-park home run at the game. As a guy who loves baseball and played, I'm not kidding. I thought this is a joke. Like, this was a major league game, and someone's, saying, oh, look, these congressmen are so great, and making some kind of a silly joke. I'm going through Twitter, and I'm like, gosh, this is real. Then I went over to Facebook and in Parler and make sure this wasn't some scam. I mean, that was a real, legit jack you hit. So Jim had a question. We wanted to know, have the New York Knights reached out? Are you the new Roy Hobbs? And are you, in fact, the natural? Will you be leaving Congress for a Major League Baseball professional contract anytime soon?
I would be definitely open to any offer from any Major League Baseball team.
Breaking news!
Anybody wants
Breaking news!
I'll give you my. Well, you have my. I'll give you my cell phone number. So if anybody calls you, I've heard there's a couple people down in the Marlins that are saying, hey, they should bring the Marlins in. Well, people were joking. I guess the Nats are in last place in the NL East, so there was a joke that maybe the Nats should talk about bringing me over. But I can tell you, I'd be a lot less stressful in life playing baseball than dealing with all these lunatics here in Washington.
I know. And it's probably a perfect segue. But my producer, one of my producers for my Fox show, Kirsten, shout out to her, is a major, major sports fan. And so, Scouts, if you want to reach out, go through Kirsten. We'll connect you to the congressman. Maybe we'll sign him to a long-term deal. He doesn't have to deal with the lunatics. Speaking of the lunatics, you're up there in Congress. Tragically, I feel for you. You're taking one on the chin for the rest of us. But on a serious note, this $3.5 trillion porculous bankruptcy bill, it will just destroy America as we know it. I mean, that's not hyperbolic. We don't have the money. It'll introduce the government into childcare, into your house, into home health care. The inflation levels will go through the roof. It's just a disaster. It attacks energy companies, so gas prices will go up. Realistically, do you think this thing has a chance? I mean, I hope the answer is no, but are the moderate Democrats just going to fold like cheap suits like they always do and just sign on to this thing and give her the numbers she needs to bump this thing through?
Well, the challenging thing is you've got these two things kind of floating together that are kind of tied together. You've got the infrastructure bill, which is like the $1.2 trillion, and then you've got the spending plan, which is $3.5 trillion. But if you parch that out over 5 years, it's really $5.5 trillion. That's how egregious all of this stuff is. I won't even get into all the atrocious details that are in all of these things. The progressives, Jayapal just said a couple of hours ago that they're not voting for the infrastructure bill. The moderates have said, there was like 9 of them, that if they don't pass the infrastructure or they don't have a vote on the infrastructure bill, which, by the way, was supposed to be Monday, that they wouldn't vote for the $3.5 trillion in spending. Well, Joe Manchin just said a couple of hours ago as well that he's not voting for the $3.5 trillion in spending. So if you're a moderate Democrat in one of these Trump won districts, why would you vote for a $3.5 trillion in spending that you know is dead on arrival at the Senate? I mean, if Joe Manchin's a no, they can't pass it. Even with reconciliation.
Tell me if I'm see, you live it every day. Again, I feel for you. We appreciate. We're talking to Congressman Greg Steube from Florida. You're taking it on the chin for us out there. But tell me if I'm reading this right here. I'm getting from my sources that it's really simple. It's basically swing district Democrats who have to run for congressional seats, obviously every 2 years in 2022 coming up. They know that this is political suicide to vote for a $3.5 trillion bill that, as you just stated, is likely not to pass anyway. So you're asking them to take a vote that's going to cost them their seat. So they don't want it. But then you have people in Nancy Pelosi, AOC type districts, these D+20 districts, who voting for that bill is a badge of honor. So they don't want to be on the hook for this infrastructure bill if they don't get the vote for the $3.5 trillion bill. So they're it's like a circular firing squad. Am I correct on the left? Where neither of them are budging and saying, give us this or we ain't doing that. But the other side's saying the same thing, correct?
Yeah, you laid that out perfectly. I mean, you basically have both sides, the far left and then the moderates within the Democratic Party, all fighting with each other. And I just hope that Republicans on this infrastructure package, if they're able to bring that to the floor, because Don Young out of Alaska said that he'd be willing to vote for the infrastructure package, I just hope we don't have Republicans that are going to help them out. Because if we have the progressives that lock down against the infrastructure package, that's about 9 votes. Why in the world would we be helping them to try to get one of their things through the process? So I hope that that's what doesn't occur, because if all the Republicans stay against both the infrastructure package and the spending bill, which I believe you'll get all of the Republicans to vote no on the spending bill, it'll be very hard for them to manifest the votes that they need to get it passed. She can only lose 5 votes on the floor. So if the progressives lock down, she's done. If the moderates lock down, she's done. She can't get it passed.
I agree. That would be a darn shame if Republicans, in name only, bailed them out. Congressman, listen, thanks a lot for joining us. And on a serious note, I mean, that was really impressive. Like I said, I played baseball on not professional major league fields, but with similar dimensions. That's not easy to hit a jack outside the park over the edge. That's not easy under the age of 40. So really nice job, and man, I'm proud of you.
Well, thank you. And if you hear from any major league teams, just let me know.
I promise to text you stat. Jim, wait, what did you say before you? Wait. Jim wants the StatCast distance. Like, before you go, what do you know the distance out there? What it was in left field?
So left field to the line is 336. Left center is 377, and it was like in between, kind of left center in the line, and it was 2 rows back. Actually, we
that
actually
is
got
a
the ball
monster shot
back into the field, so it hit the second row in between 336 and 377. So whatever I'm sure you can find like a physics guy out there to determine exactly how
Jim,
far that was.
Get on the case, Jim. Physics guy. Congressman Greg Steube, a.k.a. Roy Hobbs, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, anytime. Thanks for having me.
You got it. Folks, if you haven't seen the video, go to my podcast today on Rumble. Watch the video of this home run. It is the real deal. I'm Dan Bongino.